I'm Nancy Preston. I'm a Professor of Supportive and Palliative Care, and I'm a Professor of the International Observatory on End-of-Life Care. And our research focuses on that last year of life predominantly and how we support people with palliative care services, but also think about the decisions they make at the end of life. So I'm also interested in more contemporary issues such as assisted dying. I was interested in getting my research into practice, and I guess the best way to do that is engaging with policymakers. And because I did research around assisted dying and it's so pertinent at the moment, it's often in the news, there's various reports being made, different governments are changing decisions about this. I wanted that research to be at the forefront of decision making because I'm one of the leading researchers in the UK, but that doesn't mean people are just going to stumble across your research and use it. I felt like I had to make an effort to get that research with the right people. So I was making inquiries about what was the best way to do that, and one of the local charities had advice and links to how you get information into Parliament, how you influence policy. So I used a lot of that training, and on the back of that I've completed evidence for the Assisted Dying Committee for the House of Commons Select Committee. So after I'd submitted the evidence, I was selected to give oral evidence, and I attended the committee in the Houses of Parliament, and it was an opportunity to hear the discussion that was happening beforehand, which made me tailor the evidence I gave. And for example, they were very interested in a system that operates in the US in Oregon, and I was able to say, what about looking at other countries like Switzerland? And after my evidence, they had a whole session just on the Swiss system, which I don't think they'd been planning beforehand. So I felt like I'd already made some influence there. So when I was giving the evidence, I thought the key way to influence policy was to speak to the policymakers. But actually, about 50% of your time should be with the media too, because they are really getting information under the noses of politicians and almost an irritant in their side. My top tips for engaging with policymakers would be, I'm not very good at following guidelines, and I think if you're going to give evidence, you really need to follow the guidelines. There's lots of really clear help out there about how you do things. So when I structured my evidence for Parliament, I really followed the guidelines, and I looked at what the questions they were asking. I then tried to use my evidence, my research against certain questions. I didn't choose to answer all of the questions because I felt my research focused on particular areas more strongly than others. So definitely follow the guidance. When you're giving your evidence, I was really nervous. I mean, you're in the Houses of Parliament, you've gone through the central lobby, it all feels very sort of onerous. But the committee were really, really polite, and they were really engaged, and they wanted to hear what you had to say. I thought it was a really respectful response to what we were saying. So I'd say really don't be afraid. They are really open and welcome to hearing what you have to say. When it comes to the media, and I think it's really important to influence the media and to help set the agenda, they really are looking for stories, and they're looking for people to help move stories along. So you'll find that they will come to you occasionally, but you need to preempt it. So if you've heard a story, maybe on the Today programme, follow it up and think, what would I have said about that? So keep a story live and use the contacts you're starting to develop so that you can really keep yourself in front of the media, but also keeping the story evidence-based, so that it's not just about opinion, it's about research.